I'm Lauren Weymouth, and I helped launch and now run Ripple's University Blockchain Research Initiative, which we call UBRI. This is the program that supports universities worldwide in accelerating understanding, adoption, and innovation with blockchain technology, crypto, and fintech. We're recording today's podcast live from our Ripple's San Francisco headquarters, and I've got the head of business development for Zkrypto sitting with me in the production studio. Hi, Aerin Kim. Welcome to All About Blockchain.
Hi, Lauren. Very happy to be here.
We're going to learn about one of Zkrypto's services, zkVoting, the first public blockchain-based voting system that uses zero-knowledge proof. Now, for those skeptical about election results, check this out. It's very timely. I mean, we're in the middle of an election season here in the U.S., so it's poignant to discuss new and improved systems to further our democracy. Okay, so we're looking to better understand the future of safe, transparent, and efficient voting. Aerin, why are you in town? What has you in San Francisco?
So other than trying to squeeze in as many restaurants and cafes as I possibly can imagine, I'm here for TechCrunch to introduce our latest product, Pineapple. It's a hybrid exchange featuring the first ever real-time proof of reserve protocol. And of course, I'm thrilled to be here and talking all things zero-knowledge proofs and voting systems with you here today.
Amazing. And I know you're a foodie because when I was in Seoul, you gave me some phenomenal recommendations on great restaurants. Well, how's TechCrunch going for you?
Oh my God, it's honestly been my favorite trade show till date. I've been at a couple across the globe, and just the vibe here is different. And I know that sounds so prosaic, but genuinely, the kind of people that you get to meet, the entrepreneurs, the engineers, the judges, the speakers. I was lining up for coffee, as one does, and I ended up striking a conversation with a partner from SAP. And I was like, oh my goodness, it was just like the kind of opportunities that don't really happen to you on a day-to-day basis. It was just a really cool opportunity to meet founders and to see them pitch, because you learn about the new trends, you learn about different products, you learn about, oh, that's actually a need in today's society, and you learn.
Yeah, well, I definitely think that's why founders and startups flock to San Francisco. I mean, partly probably because of the energy coming from Silicon Valley, all the support that's here. I actually happened to partake in a leadership embodied offsite last weekend with a handful of founders, all female. The energy was off the hook. I mean, it was just so powerful to be a part of that here. All right, so Zkrypto has multiple services, and today we're focusing on zVoting. But maybe you can quickly give us an overview of the company, like where you're based and how long you've been open, how many employees, that kind of stuff.
Sure. We specialize in zero-knowledge proofs. We are these ZK experts having a background in over decades of experience in the cryptography field, since our founders are professors in the information and computer science fields. We were founded in December 2020, so it's been 4 years now, headquartered in Seoul. But I'm now very happy to share that we've recently, as of October, we've established a US headquarters in Irvine, California. So our mission is really just to empower secure, transparent interactions across the blockchain landscape, from finance, supply chain, fintech, and governance through zero-knowledge proofs.
Well, welcome to America. I'm so glad to have you guys here in California. For our listeners who aren't familiar with the term zero-knowledge proof, can you give us just a quick high-level snippet on what that is?
Zero-knowledge proof is basically a cryptography that verifies information without revealing privacy. So, for example, when there's a transaction, it's going to be, let's say, it's in a safe. You can't see what that is. But with zero-knowledge proofs, we can basically verify what's inside that safe without revealing what's in the safe. How I like to explain is that imagine you have a picture, and it's a picture of flowers, let's say, and there's a puffin in the midst of flowers. I don't know how that analogy came, but let's carry on. And you know where the puffin is, right? You know, there's a picture, there's flowers, and there's a puffin, you can see it. And then when you cover the picture with an even larger piece of black paper, for example, and there's a hole, you don't know where this puffin is, right? Because the puffin could be in the far left corner or in the center, because the black paper is so large, right? But you still know through the black paper that there is a puffin. You just don't know where it is. And that's how I would describe zero-knowledge proof, where it's verifying information without revealing the important privacy aspects of the information.
I have never heard described that way, but that was pretty awesome. So basically, this introduces a breakthrough in privacy. All right, so give us your elevator pitch for the suite of services that you offer in the realm of protecting privacy on blockchain.
At Zkrypto, we are zero knowledge proof experts, and we're all about creating a future where digital finance and governance are secure, transparent, and private. So imagine billions of digital finance being safely secured without fears of getting hacked or, worse, the collapse of FTX 2.0. And so with AI raising questions of what's real and projections of 70% of consumers engaging in digital finance by 2025, privacy isn't just an option, it's a must. And that's where we come in, where we provide a suite of privacy-driven services: Fineapple, ZK Wallet, zkVoting, zkDNA, and ZK Logis, empowering secure interactions across finance, supply chain, ID, and governance. Fineapple, our hybrid SEDEX, combines centralized speed with decentralized transparency, and it features the world's first real-time proof of reserve. So this means constant retail investor protection, assuring people, for example, who have XRP holders and other investors, that their assets are fully backed, even in the most volatile of markets. And with ZK Wallet, we're setting the standard for private and compliant transactions. As privacy risks grow, Zkrypto enables millions to interact safely in digital finance, and Fineapple is ready to support platforms, transactions, trades, coins, assets like XRP, transforming payments with our real-time, secure proof of reserve. So at Zkrypto, this is the kind of future we're building, a global network where privacy, security, and transparency come together to empower finance and governance.
That's amazing. All right, now zooming in to zkVoting. What is the problems that zkVoting is solving?
So zkVoting basically tackles the main challenges faced in online voting systems, which are transparency, verifiability, and privacy. So typical e-voting systems struggle to achieve a balance between transparent vote integrity and voter privacy. And this is because they lack clear mechanisms for verifying votes, or they have the mechanism and at trade-off, they compromise user privacy in the process. And so this leaves space for essentially hacking or interference from the individual, but also hacked systems, which are sometimes out of our control. And so zkVoting directly tackles these issues by enabling transparent, blockchain-verified voting, where anyone and everyone can review that their vote is both authentic and private, meaning that votes are fully protected from outside manipulation and making them secure, private, and verifiable.
So you're saying that with this system, we're getting rid of fraud or voter manipulation?
Exactly.
And how reliable is it?
The reliability behind zkVoting is, I would personally say, very strong. And I can confidently say that because it is grounded in proven, peer-reviewed computer science. So our security, including voter anonymity and vote verifiability, has been cryptographically proven through rigorous research and formal proofs. So on a more technical reasoning, we use a unique combination of zero-knowledge proofs and something called a nullifiable commitment scheme. And essentially, this ensures that each vote remains anonymous, tamper-proof, even under potential attacks. So basically, the system offers end-to-end verifiability, allowing anyone to independently verify that all votes are accurately counted without compromising voter privacy. And this approach provides the kind of high-level trust that a voting system and election requires.
Okay, so what I got out of that is that it's rock solid.
Basically, yes.
All right. Now, this is all under the guidance of Professor Hyunok Oh, who I work with through our UBRI program at Hanyang University. Now, he's the founder and CEO here at Zkrypto. Just taking a step back, Aerin, how did you come to lead business development for Zkrypto?
So that's a really funny question. Honestly, by pure chance. I was actually a research assistant.
At the university?
No, not at the university, at a different Kyunghee University.
Okay.
And I was under the economics and global business development department. As Professor Zah, I heard of Professor Oh when he was founding his startup. It was literally by pure chance. I was informed of what zero knowledge proofs were, and that just blew my mind. Because again, it doesn't make sense. Like, how can you prove something is correct without revealing information? It's a paradox. It really took a lot to get my mind wrapped across. But after finding out what zero knowledge proofs were and what he was doing, like enhancing the cryptography and creating at the time the voting system, I kind of fell in love. And I was like, you know what? I want to be a part of this journey. And so I pitched myself. I was like, hi, you're really cool. You're really cool, but you're only based in Korea. And I think that the world needs to know about you guys. So I was like, can I please work for you?
So that works.
Literally. Honestly, huge credit to him and the co-founder, Professor Hyunok Kim. They, for some reason, took a leap of faith and they trusted me. I was really young, by the way, at the time, but I was like very passionate and I was like, hey guys, so, you know, there's something called CES. Can we like do this? And they were like, okay, sure.
So you're responsible for bringing them into CES, which ended up getting all the awards.
I mean, I gave the idea.
Okay.
I suggested it.
Yeah, you planted the seed.
Yes, but and at the time it was like 2 weeks before, and they were like, you know, it's 2 weeks. Like, you sure about this? Like, you don't have to. Like, they were really, you know, very laid back. They were like, you know, it's okay. If you want to, you can. What I really admire about the company culture is that they really let you do everything that you want to do. You know, it's like, we'll give you a chance. And at the time I pitched to them, you know, CES, it's like a global conference. And I think we deserve a presence. Like, they deserve to know us, you know. They need to know what you guys have created. And, you know, I sent in the application with the team and somehow we ended up winning the Best of Innovation Awards. And somehow with that, we ended up building Korea's first ever blockchain voting system for the government. And somehow I'm now here with you in the studio. So really, I credit pure luck and just a lot of help from my friends, from the professors, from my CEO, Hyunok, and our team at Zkrypto.
Okay, so what Aerin is pointing to is that there's this mobile app that has won CES Innovation Award 2 years in a row. I mean, clearly this has technological prowess, but it was selected because it solves a problem facing humanity. Okay, so what else goes into your day job of being, you know, head of business development? What are you responsible for?
That's a very good question. It's really about reaching the leads and finessing our product, because although, as I said, it is reliable, and I still do stand by that, there's always more room for improvement. There always is. I think it would be very arrogant of me to say it was perfect. There's always room for more. And so it's about realizing those needs and speaking with clients, speaking with, for example, like the government, what more can be made. And again, it's not only maintaining those existing partnerships, but creating new leads and creating, for example, like here at TechCrunch, this is our first time here at TechCrunch, is making sure that we're in the right spaces, pushing the innovation. And it's one thing to have a really good product and an amazing architecture. It's another thing to actually show that to the world. My role at Zkrypto is it's giving them justice. It's giving them justice and giving them a voice to share to the world.
Wow, that sounds super empowering.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to pick up where you left off. I'm saying government. Korea's National Election Commission is implementing blockchain voting for government elections. What were those conversations like to win this contract?
Not easy. I mean, but obviously, I can't say anything bad. It wasn't easy because, as ever with governments, there's a lot of screening process involved. There has to be, right? There's so many security checks and papers and reviews and reports and experiments that you have to submit. Honestly, I would credit CES. It got our foot in the door. Because by winning the Best of Innovation award, and especially being quoted by Kinsey Fabrizio, president of CTA, a government representative walked by our booth, and that's how the conversation started. And we eventually, you know, brought that back to Korea, and it snowballed. So the initial process was very difficult, but once we got that tiny foot in the door, we were able to progress from then.
So laws must be favorable to online voting to allow this to happen, right?
Yes, legal frameworks do play a role. In Korea, for example, online voting is permitted for local referendums and schools having less restrictions. So this does allow for the broader acceptance and application for e-voting. And globally, again, countries like Estonia have led the way for online voting for national elections, while as areas like Central America, Southeast Asia, and other parts of Africa. Personally, I don't think it's just about regulations. I think it's about ensuring that security and reliability. Many countries have previously tried electronic voting, especially in the early 2000s with the internet boom. However, unfortunately, at the time, they didn't work. And so obviously governments were like, scrap this, we're not going to do this. And
So this is 2.0.
Exactly. So we completely understand the concerns surrounding stability and trust because it's been broken before. And so what really matters now, I think, is to prove that online voting can actually be safe. It can be reliable. My personal goal for zkVoting is to actually demonstrate that our technology is a solution. And it's not about trying to convince them, it's about showing them. It's about showing lawmakers that secure online voting is achievable. And essentially, I approach it like this. We are the green flag after a toxic relationship. There's trauma involved, and trauma takes a long time to heal. And sometimes as the green flag, you have to just constantly show up for the relationship, which in here is the relationship between reliable, safe election and voting systems with the digital space. So just my goal is to let the technology speak for itself and show that secure, transparent online voting is not only possible, but it can be trusted. And with that, I think it's inevitable that lawmakers will be on board, because essentially that's what we want, right? We want secure voting systems.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I feel like we spend half our time thinking about the regulations and the policies that are going to enable startups to be able to run with this technology and operate in different jurisdictions around the world. And from this relationship, have you had interest from other countries or entities, other boards or NGOs to use zkVoting?
Yes. So CES, again, huge credit to them. We've had multiple governments from Central American countries, as well as Southeast Asian countries. They've expressed interest in integrating our technology. So that's been really rewarding for us. It's really cool to see how governments are embracing new technology. It's not restricted just to technology. Whenever something is new in the space, in whatever field that may be, there will be suspicion. There will be a kind of, what are you doing? But we've been lucky enough where governments are actually willing to listen and being like, okay, this is cool. Let's see what you guys have to offer.
Okay, so you've been running around to trade shows demoing this product. Let's talk a little bit about how it actually works in real time. I got to watch one of your demos that's on YouTube, and it looked like the voting took under a minute. Can you kind of talk us through how it works?
zkVoting basically combines the transparency of the blockchain with what I earlier mentioned about the nullifiable commitment scheme along with ZKPs. And essentially, this is how we secure the voting process. So how it works is that every vote is recorded on a public blockchain, mind you. So basically, the entire process is fully transparent and anyone can verify the votes and final tally. But at the same time, because each vote is encrypted and verified through ZKPs, although it's transparent, privacy is still secured. And here, the nullifiable commitment scheme basically gives each voter both a real and a fake voting key, meaning that if a voter faces coercion, whether it be from peer pressure or manipulation, they can use the fake key to cast a seemingly valid vote that doesn't actually impact the tally or the election process.
Wow, so it's like a fail-safe.
Exactly, it is. And so this allows them to vote freely without fears of coercion resistance. So essentially, zkVoting can publicly verify each vote's authenticity, maintain transparency, and ensure the election process is transparent, secure, and private.
And so you mean like there's a dashboard that everyone can see the results, but you don't know exactly where the votes are coming in from. And can you vote like on your mobile from home?
Yes. So
okay.
We have the mobile app. We also have the in-person voting poll station as well.
So what's on the horizon for zkVoting?
That's a really good question. So Our mission is to make secure, transparent voting accessible not only in Korea but worldwide. So in Korea, as I mentioned, we have partnered with the government and it's now being rolled in small municipal offices as we speak today. And that's been a major milestone. But our goal is to expand into international markets, offering zkVoting for local government elections, private sector votes, as well as broadcasting. And we aim to lead the global voting market with blockchain verified elections and a vision that we believe to be achievable. And so to support this expansion, we're planning to collaborate with local marketers in each region and to make sure we're meeting each unique needs in the market. But also beyond public elections, we also want to implement it in running for DAOs, for investment projects, especially given our recent announcement of Pineapple. We want to allow it for DAO governance, empowering secure, transparent decision-making within investment groups. And so, we're really excited to see how zkVoting will strengthen both the physical and digital space in governance.
Man, it seems like a really tough sell, but I would love to see the U.S. government understand and actually see this service, to digest it and see if it's possible here. That would be amazing. Aerin, is there anything we have not discussed that you'd like our listeners to know about?
I think on the zkVoting side, I think we've covered the essentials, but I'd love to introduce Pineapple. That's our recent announcement. It's the next gen finance hybrid exchange that combines the best of centralized and decentralized trading. And it's especially exciting because of our real-time proof of reserve protocol is a breakthrough within the fintech space. Current POR systems, they're very few and far, but even with the existing POR systems, they take 35 hours. For what? A screenshot. It's a static screenshot. We have managed to overcome that hurdle by recalibrating the architecture to make sure those assets, users can check that those assets are backed in real time. So basically this continuous on-the-spot verification of asset holdings addresses the concerns that traders might have. And it's similar to how Ripple, for example, aims to bring real-time solutions to cross-border payments. So Pineapple is just another example of how we're using zero-knowledge proof to solve practical challenges in finance, ensuring transparency and trust in every transaction. And we can't wait to see how this will disrupt the exchange space.
And who's the target audience for Pineapple?
Pineapple for exchanges like Coinbase and also for the everyday trade, the everyday retail investor, because we understand that it's scary. Your assets can be taken at any time. You don't know whether your assets are there or not. And at least with Pineapple, you can check that your assets are there in real time. You don't have to wait 35 hours. I mean, who can wait 35 hours? Not me.
Yeah, not me either. Okay, so how do our listeners find out more about your work?
You can learn more about our work on our website, www.zkrypto.com, and that's spelled with a K, Zkrypto. You can also connect with us on LinkedIn for the latest news, contacts, and updates. If any of our listeners today are from Thailand or are planning to visit Thailand, we'll be in Thailand for DevCon. If not, if you're on the stateside, we'll be at CES in Las Vegas next year, January as well. So.
Are you going for the 3rd annual award?
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Well, Aerin, this has been great to be here in person talking to you today about my favorite tech. And this is a very innovative use case. You know, we can legitimately solve for world problems if implemented correctly and adopted. Thanks so much for working to educate people in the privacy with ZK snarks that it provides and blockchains in general to forward our sector. Thank you for sharing zkVoting in this episode of All About Blockchain to help our listeners better understand how countries are using blockchain for national projects.
Thank you so much, Lauren. It's been a pleasure talking to you and being here in the Ripple office. And the coffee has been amazing as well.
Yes, I introduced Aerin to our coffee bar called XR Presso. And to our listeners and subscribers, thank you for your ears and for your feedback to my ubri@ripple.com email. If you have any questions about this episode or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. Until next time.